Here we are then with round number 2 of the Constructors Championship, live and brought to you by RST Racing Sim Tools. Joining me here by my side tonight once again, lovely Dom. How are you doing?
Doing good, thanks. Yourself? It's a pleasure to be here, as always.
Yeah, I think we are looking at some very exciting racing tonight. I'm doing just fine. I'm actually a little bit hungry, but that isn't gonna put a dent into the broadcast. Yeah, I think I'm looking at some fire ribs perhaps at the end. What did you have for dinner?
I just tried myself some calamari rings earlier on today. I did burn myself whilst dealing with them, which wasn't ideal. But to be honest, those ribs sound a bit better, so maybe we should have swapped, because I
Yeah,
quite like
maybe
the ribs.
I might burn myself with the spice there a little bit as well. All the sacrifices we have to go to, the
Tell
lengths
me about it. It's a hard life sometimes.
to get some good food. But we are here for the racing. Let's have a little recap here as we're looking at the beautiful tractor in the background. Kyalami tonight, hot temperatures and some very spicy racing last week at Imola. Let's have a quick peek at what we missed there. So some of the highlights going through here. This is going to be from lap 1. We saw some tight pack, 3 wide, 4 wide. Make that 5 almost for a brief moment. That's the GT4 pack for you. And then with some background sound here, now as well out of the pits with the Bosch being squeezed onto the grass. That was quite something. And we are going to have a lot of moments like this, especially at the end of the first sector. Now this one actually, big contact there, and then another shove out wide. Aston making space more than necessary. Here's a sneaky one, the 776 here, Porsche, to the inside. And now with the traffic out of the way, that's the position gain. Beautiful stuff there. Do you want to go for the next couple?
Without a doubt, coming into the double, or the long left hand here, round the outside cleanly. These two GT4s battling over position here for, I think, 5th and 6th this horse, having to deal with that Aston Martin on the right hand side, but still side by side coming into this double right hander. Tricky one to get on the brakes here. You see how the Porsche goes much deeper there than the Merc, trying to get the better exit off there. Didn't quite do it this time around. Here as well, 2 cars side by side, both of them going directly to the inside to avoid that GT4 car. A big defensive there by the car ahead, but to the outside goes the black car, and it cleanly does it. I think this was move of the race here, completely around the outside, and the corner that's very hard to do so.
Yeah, around the outside is always quite spectacular to see. They're gonna have to be defending a little bit longer here, so we kept that in. Makes the move stick in the end though. Now here's a little bit of a special one, almost with a switch back there into the first sector. Just pretending, and then the fake actually works. We get the better exit there on the Porsche. And that's for position 2. Very nice, and hardly any space left between the two, fighting just on the limit there. Alright, I think we got 2 more moves in, and then we go back to South Africa with some Kyalami trackside action in the background. We are already getting a little bit of quali action, some data in for you guys. We'll keep you posted. Just don't want to miss out on the recap from last week's race that we've brought to you together here. And that was quite fancy. Because I think I do remember that the Audi actually gave the slipstream to the opposing car instead of the sister car, the Audi itself. And here is again creative onto the grass to make the move stick here, and then 3 wide, leaving a lot of room here. And that was a lap 1 maneuver, I think, from race 2 that we saw there. Audi with the big brain strats making it stick and getting that position easily. And that's
sometimes you just have to sorry to cut in there, but sometimes you just have to make your own room. You know, they're already too wide, and there's a bit of contact there. Obviously, that the Mercedes, the McLaren, they're getting tapped around by the Aston Martin there. But yeah, like you say, sometimes you just have to make your own room to get past, especially on the opening laps. It can be very easily done just to find a couple of spots where people are a little bit cautious on the opening few laps.
Yeah, I hope we're gonna see some clean turn 1, turn 3. That's usually where the big incidents happen. People being a bit too harsh, and usually on that final approach, I think it's super easy to kind of misstep the braking zone into what's well, officially it's called turn 2, it's called Crow Zone. It's the tight left-hander that we saw a couple of pictures ago. Just looking around the track here, it's down the big hairpin, that's the coup. We're looking down, it's a heavy braking zone, then mineshaft into Crocodiles. And then you can almost spot Cheetah in the background. That's the big one with the sausage curve. That's going to throw you off. There we see it in the background, looking beautifully into the Crocodiles here. Last corner, Ingwe, that's just lying behind us there, getting some beautiful trackside shots. But we don't want to miss too much of that qualifying action. 6 minutes still in the session. And I don't know if you've seen it, but it's spicy out there. 34 degrees. Ooh, it's a hot one.
Extremely hot indeed, and obviously we heard Porsche talk about it last weekend. The temperatures are going to be the real killer around here. Lots of fast sweeping corners as well to deal with here tonight. Really puts a dent in your front tyres, and with these extra heated conditions, very spicy indeed. It's going to be an extra challenge for these drivers tonight.
Yeah, so the extra challenge obviously is going to go to BMW, because for those viewers who might not know, there is a special system in place. Could you walk us through that a little bit?
Indeed. So, special, obviously, like I say, special conditions for the Constructors Championships. There are 6 rounds and 6 manufacturers, meaning that each round, some or one of the manufacturers, they get themselves a double points bonus. This is a bit of a double negative, though. You get double points for your finishing positions. You also get double penalties. So if you get a penalty and you lose 10 points, you're going to lose 20 points. If you get 1 point on your license, you're going to get 2 points on your license. It's a bit tricky, but if you can play it safe, get those consistent points and they get doubled, it's going to be very helpful for you. Indeed, Porsche had that at Misano, round 1, naturally are leading the championship on 1,966 points over McLaren in P2 on 951. So they're just under double of McLaren.
Yeah, let me try and get that graphic up as well for our viewers. Trying to get that right on in, see if it's gonna work. Might be a bit scuffed around the edges, but I just got it up. All right, there we go. So Constructors standings. That blue dot marks the double points already being counted for the first race. But regardless, if we did divide that in 2, I think Porsche would have been just down here. I think that would have been great. And the first race, either way, at Misano.
For sure, Porsche had a very solid race. Just in general, a very solid weekend regardless of the double points haul. They will be very happy with that one for sure. BMW's turn this weekend. They currently lie P3 in the championship. They're closer to McLaren than Mercedes are to them, so that's a benefit for them. So they're happily in P3. Their goal, for sure, come the end of this weekend here, is to take P1 away from Porsche. But even if that doesn't happen, still 4 rounds in the season to take that P1 spot away from them. Of course, BMW double points this time. See if they can continue their relatively good form. We also have some good driving from Schuler.
Some of the finishes there, I'm trying to bring it over there. Radek Schuler winning both races quite uncontestedly in that BMW. And yesterday I actually was following the test races, and yeah, I do think that's quite promising. The GT4 class, I think, is going to be very, very strong on the BMW performance. And that's going to be a recap. James Lacey also bringing in big points last time. Jacob Tarantino, great finishes too. And now something to keep in mind, for example, Christopher Strappen here. You see that little red minus -25, same as Thomas Bouvier. They are very close from receiving a qualification ban for a single next race. If they do get more than 30 points, that's a qualification ban for the next race. So they're going to be very careful with the incidents this time around. All right, and enough with stats, with analysis. Let's jump on over, and in game, we've been sitting in the pits here a little bit. Now let's jump on over to the BMW, that Jägermeister livery. That seems familiar, shouldn't it? It's Radek Schuler also. as the #1 out there in class right now. Let's bring that up for you to see. So GT4s being led by Schiller, but it's very tight actually. Matja making a run for it in P2. Super close. And also, obviously, we're going to walk you through the GT3 laps that we might have missed around here. I do actually, if he's going to end up going for a final lap, want to spend a little bit of time on board and showcase to you the track that we'll be watching. Some beautiful racing here tonight. So just 2 more turns to go. And actually, let me just briefly and very professionally turn off the circuit map. To get that out of your way and jump right on board. And here we go for 1 lap of Kyalami in that beautiful BMW. See what pole position pace looks like. Braking very nice and deep, close to the 100, or actually on the line there, and then up into Crawthorne. Turn 2. Right-hander is going to be that turn 3 right on here. Should be flat out for you. 4th, Jukske sweep. Then braking into 3rd. Carry lots of momentum as you're going up barbecue. Almost with the right wheels onto the grass there. Just making sure to use all of the track. Maximize that as we're going down the longer straights here. Up into Sunset. 4th gear. Just chuck the car and hope it sticks. And surely it does. To the outside. And then braking into 3rd gear, maybe 2nd if you feel like it. He's going to keep it there for Clubhouse. That's turn 7 for you. Great overtaking opportunity, but super dangerous up into here. That's going to be the S's. Turn 8, turn 9, to the inside there. Lots of GT3s who are impatient are going to pay their due if they want to overtake into here. Turn 10 now, up the hill, late braking. And hold them into that, trailing there beautifully. Oh, he's actually going to abandon the lap on top of Lecoux. Lost some time there. Let's actually see there's no further car out on track, so we might have to come back to this a bit later. But as it stands, it is looking quite fine here. Checking in with Marchard into the final sector here, very close to the Porsche. I don't think there's going to be time to be gained, so Mercedes AMG 55 will have to settle on the 2nd row here in class. Can you hear me fine, by the way? Oh, he's actually not in the call right now. Dom, I think, is not in the call. And I'll quickly check to go into the commentators chat here as well. All right. Professional as always. You know how it is. So we've got all that figured out. Trying to work out when Dom is going to be coming back. Until then, it's going to be a little bit of solo program for me here. But that's going to be your qualifying results. A 50.7 will be pole here tonight in the GT4 class. Actually, there's a car still out on track. Let's check in with that. Is there any short? Is that going to be enough? Is that a valid lap? Is that a P2? It's a lot of weaving around. Unfortunately, it is not the improvement. It's a 51.5. That's not going to be enough to get him up in the standings. Checking in 1 more car, I think, out there on track. Wolf Racing Daniel Will, hoping to jump up a couple of positions. Currently 13th. Has a lot of time in Delta. If he can carry this across the line, he's going to jump quite a bit. Number 21 comes across the line and manages to jump up into what is essentially P9 in class, or actually P6 in class, that is. P6, P7? Yeah, I think that's P7 for Damien Wilk there with a last-ditch effort to bring him into the 4th row here on the grid tonight. So BMW very strong here on the GT4 end, as I'm being rejoined by Dom. Maybe a little bit of an internet outage. Calamari after you.
Yeah, complete PC meltdown. I don't know, nuclear reactor style or something like that. Just all cut off for a brief moment. I think I might have accidentally. I've got my pedal box on my floor. I might have kicked that and sent a vibration through the wall and straight to the plug, and it didn't like it. It's the only thing I can think of, quite frankly. But yeah, unfortunate. And I have
Little
missed
bit of
quality, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's all right, though. We were able to capture some very nice moments, getting that top times here. Nice improvement by Damien Wilk in a last-ditch effort. Who do we have up in the front? We're going to walk through the grid, of course, in a moment and give you some commentary time as well as you're setting everything back up. Do let me know when you're ready. We're still in a post-session here. So James Lace is P1. Gosh, once again, and this is going to be for 2 races here, ahead of Mr. Clinch. So now there we are on the grid. Let me bring this right on up. Do you see the screen share just fine?
Yep, we're all good to go.
Wonderful stuff. Then let me get everything ready for you. For some reason, the controller doesn't seem to be working. That's an issue. Yeah, it's okay. Let me just replug this. There we go. All right. So you might wanna. Do you recall? Yeah, that is okay. I think this could be quite nice. You walk us down the grid here.
Sure. Yeah, these driver names are very helpful indeed. Also, you can have the bar, the little number next to it. That's just the ping number. But on pole, James Lacey then in the 69 car, followed by the 420 of Alistair Clinch, a front runner at Mazzano last weekend out. Had a good race one. Fortunately, got disqualified or DQ'd. Had to start the back for race 2. Made it very hard for him. Jeff then third place, the 31 car, the best of the Audis, outscoring his teammates, I believe, best of the Audis last weekend as well. Aaron Adri then P4 in the 996 car. Quickly then followed by Marco Badwowski, P5 in the 45 car. Good qualifying for McLaren this time around for them. P6 goes to the second of the Aston Martins here, Ryan Winch in the number 1 car, and then the third place of Aston Martins. Aston Martins have a very good show of things today. That is Don Jordan then. Yeah, very much so. No BMWs as of yet, and this is their double points round in GT3. Actually, sorry, Adri was 1, but the rest are pretty far down the field. So 2P8 then, that was just then Martin Schaefer there, followed by RWB Godzilla in the 34 Mercedes. Also, Mercedes having a tough time, but we're about to have 4 in a row. Godzilla, followed by Engelhard in the 741, then Carl Lewis in the 74 car, followed by Johan in the 150. All 4 of them in a row, so they're all up there in the top 12. At least they're kind of close together, friends and family. Stay together. P13 then, the 33 car of Jack Donaldson, quickly followed by the number 14th place, the 89 Magnus. Beautiful car, that, just pure purple. You don't need anything else. Looks quite nice.
It's just all purple
there. For whatever reason, RWB Alex there in the 29 car. I'm not quite sure why we have a gap on the grid. That's unfortunate for them. P16 then, sorry. Casper Nielsen, number 13 car. Next to the BMWs, those 2 side by side, and we've got a bit of a Porsche sandwich here. The left of your screen, Simon Tribic then in the 81, followed by Xavier Eugenie in the 42. Completing that Porsche sandwich is Jonas Redders. We've got 30 seconds left until the cars start rolling. Coming to the end of GT3 then is Jonas Red then in the number 7 car. Your pole for GT4, a BMW, much better showing in GT4. Robert Schmuller, Reddick Schuler, sorry, in pole for GT4, followed by the 55 of Bart Major and Emil Splum in third place for GT4.
All right, yeah, it's quite a mouthful getting all of them in.
There's a lot there. 40 cars on the grid then as they start rolling for 35 minutes. Race 1 of round 2 coming your way in just a few moments.
very nice way to start this off. Trying to get the picture here in a second as well. I think we're going to start this on a blank HUD up at the front. And in the heli cam in a second here as well. So we're getting ready for a green light, keeping it steady so far and rolling. Aston a little bit far ahead actually, but so far no drive-through as it seems. Lets him pass and immediately we're gonna go 3 wide. Up into here. Oh boy, this is gonna be a tight one. We're getting a runner, an absolute runner there. Up in the front, getting the picture here from the top view and no context. We're gonna go 4 wide there in the middle. We saw it right on there. Wow, what a tight pack at the start here. Let's check back a little bit further as we're coming into turn 5 and down the run. It's very tight here in the field as we're pulling the 89. Let's get that on Magnus Dahlgren from the Me Racing. That's who we've been checking out. Getting this right on up for you. Super tight pack and 2 wide. Trying to go for a move there just really briefly. So I'm finally settling into my cameras here a little bit. Attack of the AMG there to the inside. Lets him go past quite easily. And so both cars going to the S's unscathed this time around. And let's try and stick this here as the GT4s actually tightly following as they're going to be coming up the hill here. So far not too much contact that I've seen. 2 wide there, quick fight here. Jack Mason is forced out wide and we'll have to let that go for now. I think that might be a GT3 Audi, yeah, that is correct, in P32 right there. That's the Vries. Forced to let go a little bit. Checking in up at the front here as Alistair Clinch thinks about a move there in the RWB International AMR. Let's take it away. What were you following in the first lap there? It's kind of tough.
Indeed, there was a lot going on up and down the field. The first half of GT3 going out into single file pretty quickly. That second half in GT3 not following suit. There's a move in the background there, possibly for one of the Mercedes and to defend from the Aston Martin. You see them go almost side by side through turn number 2 here. They're going to get caught up then. The Aston Martin's going to come under pressure then from the Mercedes. Tries to look for the move backs out of it, thankfully. Not really a passing opportunity unless you are side by side. We can see the top 5 then here in GT3 bridging that gap ever so slightly to the Mercedes we're tracking with at the moment.
I think that there might have been just an accident in the background. I think I saw a bunch of things change, and what we did briefly miss is the move here where it was a harsh fight for the P2 in the GT4 class there, but Maicha to the inside and trying to hold on. I think the BMW is going to want to go for that, and there's actually a McLaren stuck in the fray there too. That's actually Gianni Lenz in that McLaren 777 of his, and he's just trying to go around as smoothly as possible, not trying to disturb the leaders of the pack here. Very difficult to do so though, when you're kind of the hen in the chicken coop.
Exactly, a fish out of the water as well is going to be my analogy for that one. GT4s would have wanted at least 5, 6, 7 laps of their single class running before these GT3s came and harassed them for the rest of the race, and they've had no respite immediately in the first 2 laps. Having to deal with a GT3 whilst you're also bunched up in GT4, extremely difficult to deal with in that GT3. Not going to be having a fun time of things now very far at the back of second last. Or the rest of the GT3 grid.
Yeah, and we are seeing a bit of a repeat performance here. This time it's actually Mark Elgard that is conceding the move here. Was behind and thought about it, and around the outside actually he's gonna try and stick to it. McLeod Racing Team 741, very adventurous but successful in making Don Jordan lose the position there. Wow, alright, nice.
Yeah, good move. Neatly done down into turn 2. Yeah, like I say, hard to do. It's about 110 degrees left-hander that one, so a bit more than a 90. I mean, you've got quite a long way to go around the outside, but that does turn into an inside for the sweep around 3 and 4 as you go up the hill. A little wide through turn number 5. Here comes the Aston Martin coming back then. Coming through the S's, the Aston Martin not giving up yet. 999 trying to fight back where it can.
And for a brief moment, when he said the 110, I thought you were talking about the Fahrenheit on track, because it is absolutely blazing, 51 degrees Celsius there as well. The unintentional. And I do see that actually that Jeff had to drop off the pace a little bit. However, every day is actually way up on there. I do like that quite a lot. And now last round, we saw some very quick sectors there as well. Marco Badowski actually with the fastest lap of the race so far. Second time around, it's Mark Elgott. We see a big jump there. Ooh, John Jordan just barely catching that Aston Jordan Racing 999 of his. Has to drop back in pace, so that's going to be a big gap starting to form now in between. Checking around here, number 17, Casper Nielsen, was very, very close here. At the back of Carl Lewis just a couple of turns ago. So BMW so far in the GT3 cars, not quite as convincing. But I think there is a lot of time still left in the race. Lots of opportunities to be had. We're checking in here with another GT3 at the back there. I think that's Debris. Once again, going past fake, and maybe we could check with the move here. There we are. It's quite tough to follow all this action happening around the track. Most of it is single file, however, though. Not too many too wide adventures after the first lap or so. I think we're just chasing the fight here. AMG, maybe a little bit of team orders happening down there in the bottom right picture-in-picture that we've got for you.
Winners and losers from the first couple of laps, and Ryan Winch, who started P6 at the start, down to P11, lost 5 places in GT3. Gainers though are Simon Trebek and Xavier Eugenie, both up 4 places from their starting position. So a couple of shaking up already. The top 3 maintaining position with Marco Badwowski, switching places with Aaron Araday for P4 and P5 early on. See if things settle down for those at the front though. To come into, well, the first couple of moments now, and that pit window will be opening up pretty soon as well.
Yeah, jumping here with a potentially, oh, we actually are following that already. Let's switch on over perhaps to the dash cam. Have a look up into turn 1. How close this actually gets. Slowing down about to 70 kilometers before we're back onto full throttle here. Now out wide, third to second. That's going to be the key into the GT3s. And in the hot conditions, you saw that little shake on the wheel, just trying to get that rear axle back under control with the blazing temperatures that they're forced to drive an AMG OMG. Johan Kjarjan doing a very nice impression so far in that P9 on his debut race here in the Constructors Championship.
So it's interesting you mentioned about the sliding, one of the Porsche keys to the race from last week out when we were speaking to Red Sky, the Porsche team manager, was saying about this race with the high temperatures, don't slide the tyres. If you slide them, you're going to overheat them, you're going to destroy your tyres. It's all about setting up your car for the last 10, 15 minutes of the race. It's only a half an hour race, 35 minutes. It's pretty short in ACC terms, and in most racing terms, it's basically a sprint race, but we are exaggerated conditions here today, like saying 50 odd degrees C here. It's extremely toasty, very spicy indeed, as there's a potential move coming down the inside there from the 741 car. Good move there, and there you go, slots in front. You see that on the dashboard cam there. But coming back to the sliding, just don't do it basically. Keep those tyres under control. You'll come in clutch at the latter half of the race.
Yeah, something let me actually jump back in there. Oh, give me the cameras there. I think that was actually Simon Trebek sending there for a little bit. It's very, very tough to get the changes in time. Yeah, I actually tried the Lambo around here yesterday, and that thing, it's just started sliding in the second half of the race, and most importantly in the second sector there as well. We do want a lot of traction. As we see Jeff making a mistake there, and that's going to be very costly there. It's a bunch of positions. I think he might have to fall back. Yeah, P6 after a mishap there. It's going to cost him 3 positions right away. Super tight pack there. Who are we following with you down there?
Down here we've got a move for P7, P8, Don Jordan, Mark Engelhardt, Martin Schaefer He's trying to go around the outside of Mark Engelhardt at the moment. Two Mercedes with a McLaren in the middle of the two. They're still battling over P8, P9 at the moment here. This battle is not letting rest whatsoever at the moment. Schaefer doing a good job to regain some of those positions.
Yeah, and it's two laps in a row. Just after I was talking about Karen doing a great job at the beginning, seems to fall off the pace now a little bit. Once again, a slide that might be an opportunity for Winch to follow up on that, potentially gain the positions there, going down the hill here and up into the final sector. So now the Crocodiles turn 13. This is the one where you start to slide. Once the tires get too hot, you're going to lose a lot of traction on the exit. It seems fine this time. And up into Cheetah, we didn't really see much of this turn yet, and the deadly powers behind it if you do mess it up at some point. Yeah, actually that was a Porsche in the background there. That has to be Tribeck, I think. Let's check in with that. I think that, yeah, that was Tribeck losing himself. Ooh, on another slide there. It's not too happy the rear end there. And with a big run now, I think Newis might have a shot. At the same time, Jack Donaldson already up into the pit lane. So I'm trying to get all of this beautiful action caught on tape right here. Let's see if Tribeck can manage to defend here in the 81 Porsche. Trib Racing. A nice livery, but can he match the pace? I think Newis, Newis that is, and the 74 behind him is having a very lovely run here. Changing over to the TV2 cam, it's not quite enough for the Ram Racing this time. Up into the second sector, beautiful opportunity, and now to the inside, he lunges for a brief moment. Very wide line there from the Porsche, and he's going wide to the grass. Ooh, what an avoidance there. Carl Lewis just barely grazing the front tire there. Ooh, that was a tight one.
Avoidance, good awareness as well. Heads up from the 74 Mercedes there to predict that Porsche may just spin it up and come back onto the track at an awkward angle. Did well to avoid that one.
And that's exactly what we are somewhat expecting here, as we are, I think, seeing the first laps there. Yeah, that's a very wide Audi GT4 there. That's halfway into the stint already. And we're seeing big lockups, big mess-ups too. That's more GT4s. Jumping over and up into the cockpit here. See what that looks like. Trying to navigate the traffic, or rather up into the pit lane that it is. To the helicam, we see very, very tight there. I've heard of a lot of people actually messing up the entry to their pit stops in some endurance races around here too. It's quite easy to do so, and then if you do, you're almost guaranteed to get a stop and go penalty, because it's super easy to jump into there. Just like Alistair Clinch jumps the gap there, trying to get past the GT4s, and that actually is Justin Burley fighting right on there with Sebastian Terenkovic for what I think is P11 in class. Let me check that. It's actually P15 in class. So BMW on AMG Crimes, they're forced to make way. Oh no, there's contact. He didn't see that. Try to touch the Aston. It's a bit too much of rubbing in that racing now. It's going to cost him quite a bit of time. Ooh. Brief moment of death there once again, as we're trying to navigate some very narrow lines here. GT4's not making too much way, it seems like. Probably making life a little bit hard on themselves. Don't want to miss a potential move here. I think in the GT4 class there could be a battle for the lead here, as we are following up into here, but Maja in the AMG. Check in on the rear wing. That BMW is looking hungry, and Emil Sorbon wants to get himself some nice dinner. That would be P2 in class right there.
Yeah, gap's super tight at the moment. I may have to just restart my ACC in the moment. Broadcasting output for me has gone down. A moment ago we saw the Audi from P3 in GT3 dive for pit road. One of the early stoppers in the top 5 there. Of course, like you said, a lot of the GT4s not really being all that kind to the GT3s. We didn't see that Audi early on just go completely off the track and remove himself from the equation when those GT3s came past, almost getting scared off it. Other people not so easily spooked, and yeah, a lot of GT4 cars holding their own, which they're entitled to do, but GT3s aren't going to be too happy about it.
Yeah, of course the difference is really, are you just in the way or are you trying to be in the way? Of course that is the thing. So sometimes it's just not in your power, but if you do have the option, sometimes it's best for both parties. Just do the sensible thing, right? Alright, we've been following for the past couple of turns here. Once again, this is the battle for P2 in class, and as you might remember, this is double points for BMW, so this could be really good if they can get a 1-2 finish in class. That's absolutely dandy performance for them. It's something they're going to be very happy about. Now checking in with the onboard here on Swerbon once again, see if he has some kind of run. This actually has 7 gears, not going to be going past the 5th one on this track. Just keeping it safe through there, maintaining the tires a little bit. I feel like he isn't pushing 100% yet. Just waiting for that mistake. Chances are there's something going to happen with 20 minutes still left in the race. And I think he's actually dropping a little bit of pace here.
Yeah, a bit squirrely coming up the hill through 3-4 and then into 5. Dropping a little bit back there, but I'm sure he can regain that pace. And the GT4 BMWs coming in strong there, where the GT3 BMWs are not. So at least they've got some drivers to help regain those points that they may be missing. Of course, like you say, those double points are up for grabs tonight with these guys. They need to do as well as they can here in both of these races to capitalize on as much as they can on those double points.
So if you had the choice, out of all the manufacturers running around the track here tonight, be that GT3, GT4, which car would you want to be in?
Tricky one. The BMW GT4 is extremely strong in a straight line. So when we come to the last 2 tracks at Spa and Monza, they can be extremely strong there. In GT4, for GT3, however, probably the Porsche, I think.
Interesting.
It doesn't always suit everyone's driving style. It's also very easy to loop the rear of that car. But for me, I like the way it works. And yeah, I would go for the Porsche. Yourself?
I think for tonight, the Porsche is probably the way to go. It's at so many traction zones. You can see that he's actually lazy. Very strong performance in the event yesterday as well. It was something to see. Yeah? So the Porsche for tonight, probably the right call. Aston maybe in a longer race, just maintaining the tires. We don't have too much tire wear in a 30-minute run, but of course the track conditions come into play a little bit there. Checking in here, fight for P12, I think. RWB Godzilla. I feel like we aren't seeing too many moves. People are mostly being cautious tonight, which is the right thing to do. Maybe I'm just missing the action. I don't know.
Very much calmed down from the first opening laps here. Maybe that is just due to conditions where people are not as close on pace as we saw in Misano. No, people are a couple
this
of
time going around the outside.
Yeah,
RW Godzilla making it work. Oh, that's a beauty. That's a beauty.
Scrap's not talking about not seeing him move around the outside with a couple of wheels in the dirt on the outside as well. Makes it stick anyway. Doesn't even care about the traction loss he may have had there around the outside of the Mercedes McLaren there. A beautiful move indeed.
Now, that's really what we want to see. Huh? That's something that's just textbook. You know, just forcing your opponent into an awkward scenario. And I'm talking about awkward scenarios. Too wide up the hill is not what you want to do. Jack Donaldson, hello. He's just making everyone feel the pressure there in the fight for what is now P13. Probably effectively a couple of positions down. Let's jump over to the TV2 cam. Around the outside is an opportunity here. And once again, the McLaren is being forced into some hefty fighting. Now he has the inside. And this could be the move. This very much could be the moment that Jack Donaldson puts the stamp on it. And that's the next McLaren up ahead with a Porsche to the inside. And that's contact. That's big contact. They're sliding across the track and almost taking out this teammate there as the McLaren loses traction after the contact. That's pretty much the first race over for Gianni's Lenz.
Yeah, the McLaren team principal is going to be head in the hands right there. One going off the track and coming back and almost taking out one of his teammates there. That is possibly one of the worst case scenarios you can have as a team. The LD then getting past the McLaren properly then and holding on to it. But yeah, that's really not ideal for them. And
Yeah.
Schaefer was having a good run there until that moment, but there's still 15.5 minutes left to go here. See if he can claw those positions back.
I do think that with some of the cars there, yeah, to go for a pit stop. Oh, Marcos Dahlgren, that's a mistake. That's gonna be me racing down 2 more position. Cheetah catching him off guard, making the McLaren that spray that time around the track. Oof, oof, oof. Good thing he didn't.
Falling apart here. This is yeah, from bad to worse to just downright awful there. A slight mistake costing him place obviously to his teammate, not the end of the world, but it's unnecessary. It doesn't need to happen. These little things need to get ironed out for consistency. If you want to mount a championship fight, consistency is key. You need to explore on those big points consistently and not have little mistakes like this. Of course, you know, every little helps, every little point here helps, and it all adds up.
Yeah, now what I've been following in the past couple of laps in the Delta here is where talking about a fight for championship points. We're looking at P3 Marco Podolski in that Team McLaren 45 here, where we did see Aaron Ariday past 2 laps, first sector quicker, second sector quicker, and the Audi almost quicker into the pit lane there, getting rear-ended. Was not the plan there. Ooh, that's a tight one too.
Yeah, interesting that the Audi was able to come into pit road a lot quicker there, and you might have just seen as the picture-in-picture closes that the 21 Porsche did have a bit of a moment coming out of turn 5, slammed its way through the grass, through the gravel, and straight into a barrier, which wasn't ideal. But now the picture-in-picture's gone. I'm going to hit this
Sorry about that. That might have been just my streamer timing.
That's all good. I'll take this moment just to restart the ACC.
Yeah, I already thought you wanted to. It's definitely tough when you don't have the broadcast client available to you. So here we see 2 teammates, Mark Elgard in the McLeod Racing Team, AMG next to RWB Godzilla. Very fancy stuff there, seeing the 2, and I think we're gonna see more of them in the second race as well. Let's do a quick recap here and talk about the fact that Johan Kieran in the AMG OMG has gone from P9 up into P4 here. That's some fantastic news for Team AMG there. P8, P9. Very strong stuff there with a mixed bag up at the front. This is their first run out so far. They do have to serve the pit stops still. So that might throw a wrench into my current predictions. Checking in and back with... I think, did Mark Elgard get past? No, it's just very tight here. Let's check it with the rear wing here. Off the 741 AMG. Up into the S's, and things are very aero dependent here. So if you're in that bad air, it's not quite as easy to follow. Usually losing about a 10th or so, which you regain if you're not forced to jump and dive to the inside of the S in there. Super tight. Wow, that was close. Alrighty then, to the helicam for a brief moment, and with an update here from the GT4 class, perhaps we could be checking in with that. We have Schaefer as well, Martin Schaefer on the tail of Ryan Winch, and now this is the deciding point. Do you want to overtake into Cheetah, or just going to give up the time gained? And as well, you actually send it to the inside there. Now, who gets a better on it? I'm sure that they're all about just the same exit speed here. Ryan Winch pulling to the far left, trying to not to share any of that valuable slipstream. They're going to come into turn 1 with a tow though. So Schaefer, not quite with the move this time. I hope he's going to be on time on the brakes. Just following neatly. Yeah? Up the hill they go then. That's going to mark about 10 minutes left and 3 minutes into the pits. A couple of cars still not in yet. Do think that's the right call. Just trying to stay out now instead of falling back up into the pack here. Whew. What have you been looking at the past couple of laps? What's happening in GT4? Any updates?
A couple here. Actually, Daniel Barnett being overtaken by the 123 BMW for P5, which is BMW, of course, and Emil getting past the number 15 Audi just a moment ago. They're dropping back a little bit here. unfortunately, is this Audi. All the pit stops in GT4 are done though, I believe. So that is good news. And obviously we've still got 3 more to go at the top of GT3. Their pit stops for no running smoothly. Peter Varga though, right behind Daniel Barnett, who may gain another position then for BMW, which would be good to see. Peter Varga getting himself a penalty point, or a couple of a penalty deduction, 10 points. He lost last race out at Misano for contact with another GT4 car. So hopefully on his bonus round that won't happen again. And if he can get past this number 15 Audi, who goes a little bit wide again. All that GT3 traffic that we were watching with just a moment ago in the town tip, all that slipstream from the Audi to breeze past and see if he can make a challenge on the Aston Martin into turn number 2. Close enough this time, but you see Peter Varga, the blue and yellow striped GT4 car in your background there. He is closing down and was closing by half a second that previous lap on the Audi, so expect these two to come pretty close together in the last 10 or so minutes of the race here.
With the outside there being forced out wide, that should be a good run. In the background, by the way, you were able to follow that. Martin Schäfer gave up 1 more position here to his teammate. And I'm trying to get everything sorted here so that we can follow the GT4 battle here, which is effectively, I think, 4P5 in class.
Very much so, P5 in class here, and Emil and Barnett. Barnett been able to close back up to the 1-2-3. Obviously, again, pushed out a little bit by all that GT3 traffic that's now gone, escaped up the road to the inside. Goes one of the BMWs, had to dab on the brakes whilst doing so. Bit of a sketchy move there from the 42 car, trying to put the Audi off its nerve there. Yep, BMW having a really good time of things, and obviously it's the top 3 of each class for their score points. There's four cars in each class for each manufacturer. It's the top 3, so you can so one driver basically is allowed like a get out of jail free card.
Yeah,
you know, they can have a bad showing as long as the other 3 do well. You know, the 4th person, they kind of get off lightly, and good enough for BMW. We have 1st, 5th, and 7th in GT4. Also well in the GT3 standings, but GT4 they're really coming on strong here, and that's exactly what they need for the double points here. Was the pit window now comes to a close with 20 seconds to go. We have completed all the pit stops though, thankfully, so we are good to continue for the last 7.5 minutes of this race.
Now, what's quite interesting here, there's actually no clearance this time in terms of the pit stops causing any trouble. Something we did miss though is that overtake of Aaron Ariday, who jumped Jeff into P3 now, is leading by about 3/10. Let's check on the rear wing as they're going down the hill. Not the greatest exit that time. Could get actually quite close here. I'm trying to jump on over and give you this up in full screen here as well. And the rear wing of that beautiful BMW of his, running somewhat like the default colors, I think. The BMW Motorsport colors. I think there might be some extra stickers on the side. Oh, big jump there over the curb. It's got to be a show. Is that a sign of inconsistency? Is that a sign of just him pushing the limits? What do you think?
Yeah, it's certainly pushing the limits. They wouldn't be up in the places they are right now, 3rd and 4th, if they were that inconsistent, but it also shows how hard they are pushing that. We're dealing with millimeters, centimeters here, maybe an inch at most. That's the beauty of motorsport. You deal with such fine margins here that if you are an inch too far to the left, to the right, you put a wheel in gravel, that ruins your momentum, that leaves you susceptible to an overtake from the car behind. And yeah, the BMW here pushing the boundaries, but you know, flirting around them. As long as he doesn't overstep the mark, he's going to maintain that P3 position. But Audi's charging. Audi may come strong here with 5 different manufacturers in the top 5, so not quite all 6 in the top 6, but 5 different manufacturers in the top 5. It's good to see.
It's very nice to see indeed. Checking in here with Don Jordan. We already saw that briefly in the background there. It's going to be the fight in between the McLaren just holding on. So Badowski wants to bring some points home after Dahlgren and Schaefer couldn't really deliver the this time around. It's also bring up your picture-in-picture onboard of the situation here. Up in the front, what you're seeing the bottom right is the fight here for position 3 in the GT3 class, and this for position number 5, where both of them absolutely don't want to give up their ambitions for tonight. Aston Jordan Racing, number 999, tries to go quite wide and now carrying a lot of speed up into Cheetah. A decent run that is, obviously. Now very tight, and you could see it there for a brief moment. Bottom right, once again the BMW over the curb.
He had to go to the inside there through Cheetah from one of the GT4 cars. Really compromised his entry, hit that sausage curb on the inside at Cheetah, launched him wide and out on the exit there. So we've seen that twice now. He goes defensive, does the 996 car. AJF looks to the outside into turn 2. Can he make it stick? Don't think so. It's a long way to go around the outside, but may try the switchback, and then another switchback again to go through the right-hander. Goes to the right-hand side, looks for a switchback again through the left-hander. Even if he does so, he'll be on the outside for the following right-hander. Very hard to set up a move around here in the first sector.
First sector is super difficult on the hot temperatures as well. Tires just don't really want to grip up. That is actually just almost burning up the tires when you do go for a move. So up into these sections, your tires are going to be even more slidey. We see a lot of small corrections there, and such a tight fight here. Up in the front, those two are absolutely at it, and I think now the final sector will be the defining moment when it comes to a move, really. Is there going to be any traffic ahead? I don't think so for now, but we do see Don Jordan there getting adventurous and to the inside this time. So they're going to be going side by side for just a moment. McLaren able to regain traction first, though, and sending it down the hill. Still maintaining 5th is Marco Badowski.
It's really kicking off here at the final stages. There's a yellow out on track and to the inside.
Yeah, there he goes. Don Jordan finds the grip, finds the courage to commit the sand that he needs. Into P5 is they're both using more than just the track limits all the way to the outside there on the 50 degrees. Maybe actually the grass is a little bit cooler. Maybe that's the cooling strategy we all have been forgetting about.
Maybe so, yeah, maybe that's not quite coded into the game. You know, big brain moment for them figuring out that maybe the grass is actually cooler than the track, and obviously that would make sense. Black absorbs heat compared to green, which doesn't really do it to the same extent, and they're not far away from P3 and P4 here. You can see them at the top of your picture then as they go through the left-hander. They're only a couple of seconds away from the battle over third place, of which are coming up to some GT4 traffic. Let's see if that, you know, causes a bit of disruption for the battle for P3, which I think it might do.
Quickly also jumping over, so it seems to be the rivalry here after a very disappointing first race for Aston Martin, being in the Constructors on very last place. I think they're really trying to put a fight up for it, especially against the McLaren team. We see a bunch of moves. We see on the bottom right picture that how close they got for the Audi. That's a Cole Brown moment if I've ever seen one.
So Jeff coming off worse there. Came past that Audi GT4 at the wrong time, and you can see he's dropped back a couple of car lengths, but not really the end of the world. He's lost actually a second to the car ahead, to Aaron Adrie. But there's still traffic. Traffic can, you know, it can swing both ways. Sometimes you will have a bad lap of traffic. Next lap, the car ahead will have the bad lap of traffic. So yeah, it's all about maintaining that composure and not getting too stressed out by them, because it's, you know, it's just part of racing, and that's what brings the other joys. And going wide, doing the opposite to the BMW this time. Actually, Aaron taking that corner neatly and properly. This time it's the 31 car that goes a bit wide this time around. There is a lap.
Yeah, I think that's Lenz. Lenz not with the best race. That should be the 777 McLaren ahead. Going to the outside and then making room. That's the right thing to do considering the state of the race that he is in right now. Magnus Dahlgren getting a nicer exit through there. Out of Cheetah and into the final turn. So Ingwen turn 16 is usually the traction zone. That's going to be defining how fast you're getting out of that final turn. Sorry to ruin the picture-in-picture immersion for you there. I was actually looking up the turn names. I think the stream was able to see that as well. It's just professionalism that you were looking for. Now actually running into Donaldson is this group of 3 now. Check out in the helicam, and something we can't miss at all. I think there's going to be one more lap in the race. Don't want to miss when Lacey wraps this up for the first one. He's actually almost a second quicker than any of the other cars around the track right now. Last time around, we did see him put up a 44.0, and that time, the time before was a 43 mid. Absolutely stunning pace up here from the Porsche driver in P1.
So I instantly mute myself and start to speak. Like you say, a lot of traction zones around here, and that's exactly what the Porsche does well, is get out those slow hairpins well, and there's an Audi in the middle between the fight between P3 and P4. Again, Jeff getting sort of backhanded by his teammates in GT4.
We did actually miss it. Sorry about that. That is actually checkered flag. James Lacey, Porsche Racing 69 says thank you very much. Takes a well-deserved P1 in front of Alistair Clinch, finishing in second. Then it's going to be lots of points. Aaron Araday brings home third position. Jeff couldn't quite fight back for that place. Has to settle for fourth position. Don Jordan is going to be finishing in P5 as they're all going for a ring around the rosy on the runoff. Then there's a couple of cars actually heading to the pit lane already. Marco Badowski P6, then Yanni Kieran with the run for it, P7, 8 and 9 with Mark Elgard and RWB Godzilla. Then it's Donaldson wrapping up the top 10, checking in with the GT4s. We don't have a decided winner yet. Radek Schiller still has to make one more turn for BMW Motorsport 96. That might be a warning, but it's not going to phase him too much as he takes home the checkered flag P1 once again. That's the third of his in a row. Might have to give him some ballast, but Mattia will have to run for second this time around. Has another shot though with the second race. Jakob Tarantino, once again a nice performance here for the Porsche GT4. I think that's a big comeback as well. If we're taking a look, they did gain a position during the race here tonight. Then Christopher Verstappen, Team Audi. That's going to be a P4 finish and class where Emil Sjorbon brings home BMW points, the second BMW in that order, just ahead of Daniel Bonnet in that lead number 15 and Peter Varga. I think, no, that's actually not the Audi spinning around there doing donuts after the first race already. Must be very happy with the performance. So that's going to be a P8 here. In class, Edo Kopsche. Claudio Algaria is bringing home 9th position there for the AMG team in front of Damien Wilk. That's once again the top 10 for the second time around. Whew. Let's actually jump to the replay before we miss it. I guess we have time for that and get a hold of the race start. What do you think so far?
Wow, that was a hectic one, a bit of a lull in the middle of it, but the start and the finish real hectic all over the place. Of course, to start the race, people going 3 wides down into turn 2, which is always interesting to see there. And the end with bouts of P3 and P5 in GT3, you know, a lot was going on there, and having to deal with that GT4 traffic for those GT3s, especially in the end of the middle sector. We have the S's and then the long left-hander of Le Coupe and down 11 and down the run down to turn 12 at Mineshaft. Real tricky for those GT3s to get around the GT4s, and you saw a couple of GT4s just holding their line and not so much messing up some of those GT3s as we see the run now down into turn 1 and turn 2.
Yeah, look how wild the field is.
Fanning out. It's a very wide circuit there.
Yeah.
You know, you say Silverstone's wide 15 meters, that's almost 20 odd meters. You can see how they fanned out there, and unfortunately they're getting cut off as we look our way to the a little preparation period before race number 2. I'm trying to get a hold of Mr. Alex here, who is the team principal for BMW.
Yeah.
I may just pop into a chat and go sort of badger him.
Yeah, sure. You go ahead while I'm taking this in between. So we did see some very hot racing action here in that first race. Not too many hiccups. I think the biggest ones on the McLaren side, probably going to be trying to refocus here for race number 2. I think we had some beautiful highlights there as well. Nice overtakes, and most importantly, lots of curbs being jumped in the final sector. That's of course the dream. That's what you're looking for, really, around the track here. And an amazing pace. Let's see if front runner here is the front runner of the first race is going to be able to follow up on that. So Porsche GT3 looking mighty fine there in the hands of Lacey. I think that was some very strong performance. Already saw the preparation there in that Porsche Racing 69. So we'll be back with the interview in just a moment here. Do let us know if everything's all right in the broadcast. Get yourself something to drink, and we'll be back in just a moment. Did you get a hold of him, Dom? I think we do have him in here. Wonderful.
If you could just leave that a sec, because I need to remap my my keybinds.
Yeah, we'll be there for you with the interview in just a moment. Well, alrighty then. Let me get started. BMW GT4 Schüller. Hello. It's 3 wins in a row and double points tonight. That is just lovely. Joining us here is the team manager of BMW, Alexander Wiech. How are you doing?
For my part, I feel pretty great for the other teammates. They did a good job, but yeah, my race was ruined before the start because my game crashed.
Oh yeah, we did see a hole in the grid there. What happened?
Yeah, I don't know. I got a fatal crash message from the engine. Yeah.
Oh, that's rough.
Rejoined, but obviously had no chance to gain any positions. Just cruising around, getting ready for race 2.
Yeah, that's super unfortunate. But like you say, your teammates coming pretty clutch there. GT4 was a good showing there for your team. GT3 not so much, but so we put ourselves on the grid sooner or later for the second race. What are you looking to achieve here? Obviously, this is your double points round here. You hoping to take the lead for championship?
Well, yeah, of course. I think we will lead the championship of this race because of the double points, and Radek and Peter doing good jobs or great jobs in GT4. Aaron also, I think he had a podium in the first race, P3.
Yeah, we were following that. That was quite a run from down the order and getting some very nice overtakes as well. High consistency in that 996. Any words for him, Ariday, on that performance? Do you have any words for Ariday?
Well, yeah, I think he should keep it up for the second race. Just yeah, get this rhythm going. And yeah, I hope my race will be better than the first one. Let's see.
For sure. And one last one, as we know, you've got setup changes and things like that to make as we go for race 2. You say about consistency and being smooth. How is it with the conditions? Obviously, it's extremely hot out there. Is it making that sort of difficult? Only half an hour race, tire life shouldn't be an issue, but with these extra heated conditions, is that something you're finding a bit of a challenge?
Well, no, I think actually the BMW handles the heat pretty well. And I didn't get an actual difference to the 39 degrees from qualifying. So yeah, I think it runs very smooth.
Exactly what we like to hear then. But have a good race 2 and hope it goes your way.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
All right, so joining us here for the broadcast once again. So we did get the team chiefs in. Last week it was Porsche. This week it is BMW, both with some very promising performances. I think that it's a tough challenge in those conditions out there, and the drivers are managing just beautifully. How are you enjoying the race so far?
Is that directed at me or the chat? I wasn't too sure. But I'll
mostly,
answer it
mostly
anyway.
to you,
yeah. Race 1, extremely hotly contested. Both start in the middle and the end. And we'll see that again. A couple of GT3s dropping down the order. Unfortunately, at the start, we saw that Mazana as well. If they can iron those out and bring themselves back to the front again, without having to drop down through GT4, then we should see even more competition there in GT3. And like it is in any racing series, the further you go into a weekend, the closer the field becomes. The more laps you do, the more data you learn and gather, and you can build from that. The second race is always much harder to race in than the first race, because everyone takes a step forward, and if you don't take that step forward, then you're the one that gets shuffled back.
Yeah, they're going to be having a tough time adjusting the pressures here as well. So we are a little bit later into the evening, and something I noticed yesterday, it's painstakingly glaring about 10 minutes into the stint, because the sun comes around. We're probably going to get a nice shot of that. And while it's beautiful to us, it's quite tough to drive in there as well. So adjusting pressures, adjusting your strategy perhaps a little bit, depending on how it went in the first race for you. And then trying to push on through the dawning sun. No, it's not dawning. Dawning is in the morning. What's it in the evening? In the setting sun.
The setting sun. Dusk.
Yeah.
Is the word I think you're looking for. Yes. Like you say, especially if you're one that likes to ramp up your graphics and stuff, you get hit by that pretty hard. Sometimes it's nice, like me, to be running a 1070 because I have to dial the graphics down, which means the intensity of that sun isn't as bad as others. So for me, not really an issue when I'm driving. But some who like to.
I just have to have the maximum blooming effect. There's just, if I can see while I'm driving down the hill on Bathurst, it's just not Bathurst, you know.
Yeah, that's a fair point. You do ruin some of the immersion there. It would be quite nice in real life if you had a sundial as such. But here we go. Cars are rolling. Race 2.
Yeah. Do you want to take the start this time around?
And do indeed. Everything's working quite nicely for once, though. My broadcasting overlays. Like I say, you can see the shadows and braking points are going to be quite difficult here, because if your braking point is covered now in a shadow, you can't see it. Maybe a little harder to spot this time around. But I'm sure our drivers will be able to manage that just fine. As we prepare then for the race start, this side by side, and the lights are green. It's a good start then by the 34 Mercedes, who immediately goes down to far inside. I think that is RWB Godzilla going straight to the inside, gaining 2 or 3 positions, immediately 3 wide into turn 1. Round the outside goes Clinch into turn 1. There's contact though, lots of contact everywhere, and it's a car park.
Oh yeah, that's Clinch spun around there on the exit of turn 1, and that's actually him taking out Schiller there as well. Yep. Yeah. Into the... Oh, there's big contact. RWB Godzilla spinning around his teammate, and there's more contact. Oh, race 2. What a start. Everything's completely shuffled. The GT4 field has already caught up, and there's cars stuck there in the middle. There's more traffic, and there's a lot of dust. And as things are starting to settle, you see that Porsche is already jumping to the inside. This is going to be one hell of a second race, I can tell you that already.
I don't even know where to look. This is giving me Macau 2019 vibes. Everyone piling up and just creating a roadblock there. Only the top 3, top 4, top 5 in GT3 have got away, and they're clear. It's going to be really good for those runners. AGF leads Aaron Adri, followed by Ryan Winch in the top 3, and they've got a good jump, you know. And those who've been able to get through from further down the grid, Jack Donaldson, Xavier Eugenie, Cal Lewis, those who are a little further down the grid from qualifying, they're up to P5, 6 and 7. They've capitalized on this extremely well. Those who lost it, losing out, you know, Clinch and the leader, the Porsche, they've dropped down. They're in with the GT4s. Their race is almost ruined, and it only took them 200 meters to do that. Not Robert, I keep on calling him Robert.
I really do feel like it was a lot of aggression there from RW Godzilla into turn 1. It's actually contact with Schiller. I unfortunately wasn't able to capture that on the picture-in-picture. I want to go back 30 seconds and have another look what happened there.
So we're going to have to do some race recapping for sure, but Schuler, who was had to come to a standstill almost coming into turn 2, got bonked a little bit by the 420, and then just got shoved off the track by the Porsche, the 69 there. We didn't quite see it in the picture-in-picture, but coming through the penultimate corner through Cheetah, where we've seen it's very much a one-fire, one single-line corner. That's a quick kink to the right, and it's very much unsighted where you can't see the exit of the corner. Just got pushed off the track by the 69 Porsche there, running the inverse of the 96 number there. Maybe a penalty coming the way of the Porsche if they look at that in the race review. Yeah, it's all hands are up in the air. I don't know where to go, what to think.
It's just too many things happening. If I'm looking at the standings, and that's just GT3 in the middle there, still trying to go around. It's going to take such a long time to just untangle this mess. That was lap 1 and lap 2. I think that's going to be major points, and you see their penalty points. I mean, being awarded to some of the teams. Looking at this, look how busted the front hood there is as well, and I don't even want to know what happened to Clinch in terms of the damage. So Koyan Yuan Kieran, after the first race, was leaving a good impression. Now that's just not going to be the race finish for him, is it?
Not at all. And yeah, it was bad to us, and yeah, unfortunately these things do happen, and you get caught up in them, and you know sometimes it's not your fault, and that's just racing. But I'm looking here in the picture here, we've got cars. We've got 3 GT3s for the 19th, 20th, and 21st at the moment.
Ooh, there's a big contact there in the background.
Contact there between the GT3 Audi and Radek Schuler. The 96 BMW has been involved in everything. You can see
let me go back
there,
and have a look there.
Looking all sorts of dishevelled, and it's all kicking off here. The stewards are going to have a busy night, that's for sure. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, and we'll discuss the penalties that are going to be handed out. And I can tell you for now already there will be some penalties handed out somewhere. Someone has to be, you know, not so
it's the second
blamed,
time where the GT3 just isn't quite there with the room. Unfortunately for Schuller in that second case, once again, same story. 66 back to the field. We'll have to go through that same traffic once again, but with more damage than ever before. Ooh, and let me actually check. Lacey's probably on a run now as well. Just can't get past. That's just no way. Yeah, Lacey going at it. He's gonna try and bring home some points because he has actually the first Porsche in the GT3 class for their team there. So that's all the hopes of maintaining that lead in the Constructors Championship being put on his shoulders right there. Checking in with Schaefer. Not the greatest first race. Is now setting eyes on Eugenie here in the GT3 number 42. That's the BMW ahead. Jumping into the dash cam here for a nice run onto the start finish straight. I'm pretty sure that
we need to take a moment to breathe, but I think for Porsche, all they can be thankful for is that this didn't happen at Misano during their double points round, and that they're having the bad luck now. They can get it over and done with. They can fight for the rest of the season, and hopefully not get involved in this stuff again. And yeah, everyone's sort of out in flux at the moment. GT4s are dealing with GT3s when they really shouldn't be. We've seen Radek get bullied on 3 or 4 times now in the same corner. It's
but different manufacturers as well, but it's all just GT3s with damage. It's kind of they're continuing to put themselves even closer in terms of the pace to the GT4s actually. Kind of evening the playing field, you could say.
Indeed, especially when you get put behind GT4s on the first couple of laps. That is one of the most infuriating things you can find, being behind slower class cars in the opening laps. One of the reasons that 66 went for the move on Schuler when he really shouldn't have done. You know, just frustrated, wants to make up for lost time, loses more time in doing so. And the only thing you need to do in times like that is just to step it back a moment, take a breather, consider yourself, see where you are, see what your options are, and then go from there. If you're sending it down the inside of cars where you really shouldn't be, you wouldn't do that on a normal lap if things were going well for you. You shouldn't do it in a time where things really aren't going well for you. And
it's just that kind of momentary decision, or that kind of looks like a gap, being not on the 100% on fleek tires as well. It's gonna be a big factor, I think. Did we see a position there? I think no. Actually, Newest has already been 9th for a couple of turns. I just mistook that. So that a bit of a train of 4 here. One of the few surviving groups that we're seeing. Also, Jordan gaining on the last lap in the fight for what is essentially gonna be P2 against Everyday. But yeah, in the beginning of the race here, we saw some very impatient GT3s, and I'm sure that Race Control is going to have a word with them. Because that is just something where they have to show more patience, despite the fact that it's just 35-minute races.
Sure, and even endurances, you don't, well, especially endurances, you don't go for moves like that. Obviously, with a sprint race, time is a bit...
Schaefer derailing around the outside, and now to the inside is actually clinch. I think it's not going to quite work out for them. Oh, yo. Very tight racing, yeah, both of the cars not quite being successful with their attacks respectively. Carl Lewis is going to go to the inside, he'll have to be defensive, can manage to stop his AMG just in time, shoving the Aston out wide and then leaving out too much room. Not sure what happened there, it's going to cost him the position. Carl Lewis into P10, and as the clinch is going to say thank you very much and moves up ahead.
Yeah, kind of odd fender-fender contact there as they went through turns 10 and 11 with the Mercedes just getting caught on the nose of the Aston Martin, and somehow that shoved him a bit wide, but down the inside goes clinch, and like I say, you'll say thank you very much. And diving for pit road then is the number 14 McLaren. In GT4 in your picture-in-picture, we've got Emil, Christopher and Daniel Barnett here over 24th overall there. That's sort of 8th, 9th in class, I think, at the moment. Having to deal with those GT3s that are still getting their way through. The leading Porsche that was taken out at the start here, having to make its way through
it's just
the
continuing.
GT4 yeah. They've had no respite, and we're 8 or so minutes into the race, and they haven't been able to have a chance to really calm down there. Under constant pressure, you can see that Porsche is there. You know, it's 23rd overall. That's not even lapping a car. That's technically full position. A GT4 could defend it if it wanted to. I'm not sure why it would, but technically full position.
Yeah, and if they continue sending it like that, they're probably going to stay behind in the GT4 pack as well. Lots of fender-bender moments tonight. Seeing some very surprising turns of events. Picture-in-picture is currently showing you the fight for P2, where Aaron Araday is arranging a fight here for position number 2, second step on the podium, as I keep messing up my cameras, going into the wrong one. Little bit offensive move there, just waiting on the exit, and that's something that a lot of the advanced drivers start adapting eventually during your defense. You don't always want to step on the gas 100%, when you can actually wait just a moment, because your the car chasing might have to wait a little bit when you do so that you're basically getting the same exit. You can be more aggressive on the defense, as we're seeing the previous leader, Jeff, jumping to the pits. That's going to be a temporary lead for Aaron Araday here, as they're bringing the P1 BMW into T1 here during the sundown at Kyalami.
The shadow is extremely long now. Yeah, like I said earlier, it's going to mess up a few people's braking points, I'm pretty sure, but I'm sure they've already got used to that in the first opening moments here. And now people are taking their pit stops. It's going to calm things down, thankfully, a little bit. GT3s, where they don't really belong, are going to get out of sync with everyone else, and that should ease the flowing for everyone else just a little bit, allow people to get some more personal space on the track here.
Ooh, jumping right on over there to the action as there's big contact. Xavier Eugenie shoving that Aston out wide. That's going to be a big no from him there, as there's actually more time to be lost. I think that as actually Alistair clinched immediately to the pit lane. Let's go back 30 seconds and jump to the onboard. See what happened there. That's a big one. Wow, alright. So we do see it right on here with the onboard 4th gear, and he's getting a very nice run, much higher turn in and to the outside, and this is actually a beautiful position to be in. And then just as he returns to the trackside, front of the car completely open and up, pulls over to the side, steering is so bonk-kill, have to decide to retire. That's the race over for Alistair Clinch right now.
There. BMW just squeezing him out there. I think the BMW inflicted that on themselves, really. You know, the car was around the outside and was alongside enough around the outside, and the curb really unsettling the Aston Martin there, but even with the spin went straight into a BMW, which was giving no room whatsoever.
trying to find even more screen time, it seems like. BMW all up in that action here. Alex Reach this time in the number 29. Coming under fire from Jonas Red here. Chasing in the number 7. So while this seems to be for position, Porsche still to serve the pit stop. So I don't think that's going to be too much of a battle. But yeah, to recap that, I do think that the BMW should have paid a bit more respect with just keeping it wider. Of course, the car can be unsettled very easily around the outside. More room should have been left by both of the drivers, in my opinion.
Yeah, without a doubt. And so much an audacious move from the Aston Martin. The move was on. They had the speed around the outside, like you saw. They're taking a lot more mid-corner speed around the outside and just getting forced out there, really. And a racing incident, I don't think we can really put blame on anyone there specifically. But yeah, unfortunate for the Aston Martin there, who just lost their suspension entirely. Had to retire, which is
Now with a quick spotlight on Don Jordan here, and if we're having a look at the leader at the sector times, fastest first sector, fastest second overall, no actually second fastest sector overall, and third and also fastest last sector here. He's absolutely blazing through and trying to get up with the pace. So that's a quick spotlight on Don Jordan here for putting together a 42.5, which is actually quicker than his qualifying.
Extremely quick indeed. Entire second quicker than P9 RWB Godzilla. He's lighting up those timing screens at the moment.
Alright, trying to bring you back up and into the action here. We talked about it just briefly there. RWB Godzilla is the car ahead and is running into both the number 7, the number 31 car here. That's Jeff, and also that McLaren around the outside. He goes and up into turn 5, and now with that little bit of slipstream, I think he might have a good shot at getting the position here, even though of course he still has to serve the pit stop in the next 12 minutes of the pit window. Do think that Jeff is gonna do the smart thing and make way. Checking in really quickly here, fight for P11, because we have for position here Marco Bedowski onto the grass there and being blocked a little bit by that Cayman, not able to get a move this time around the very damaged AMG of Jan Kieran. Oof, Jesus.
Yeah, and you can see how the GT3 cars having to sort of cut and weave, chopping and turning around the GT4s when they're not too sure which way the GT4s are going. The GT4s don't know which way the GT3s are going, and at least some interesting changing of direction. But here comes the McLaren then in the slipstream of the Mercedes to the outside. It's going to be very hard to do that around that corner. Can't get the run out of it either. They'll do a single file through Cheetah, I'm hoping. And indeed they are. And can he set up a run then into the final corner? It looks to the outside. Won't really have it here either. The next opportunity is down to turn 2, and there's a long straight here with the kink here at 1. There's a good opportunity for slipstreaming here. All this battling though is allowing the Aston Martin though in the background to close up just a little bit here.
That's quite surprising that Marco Badowski isn't really pulling a lot. Oh, there we go. On the last minute effort there. Still not following through despite the heavily damaged AMG ahead of him. Doesn't quite want to risk the biscuit. It's understandable, but it's costing him a lot of time.
Yeah, just picking his move. Obviously, seeing the carnage that unfolded in the first opening moments, just trying to calm it down. In your picture-in-picture, you would have seen RWB Godzilla from P5 take his P6, sorry, take his pit stop, and Don Jordan immediately on the back of AJF in the 31 Audi, right on the tail here. Both of these two have made their pit stops, and they are the leaders of those who have made their pit stops, P5 and P6. The top 4 in GT3 yet to make their pit stops.
Once again, compromising the exit there a little bit as we are going for some very dangerous traffic as the front hood of Kieran starts to bump its way up the hill there. Waiting again on the traction. McLaren not really fortunate with the traffic here tonight. The battle up at the front, though, is continuing to unfold as we see some very late braking there from Don Jordan, trying to prove a point that he is the car that can break the latest round there. Good thing that he wasn't too close to the Audi head, otherwise that would have been a kiss.
Maybe a little more than a kiss of BMW in front of him dies for pit road. That is the number 13 car. These two will be promoted to P4 and P5 then. And actually P3 and P4 is another car that goes to pit road there. I think that's the 33 Audi there that goes for pit road. So they're progressing up the... Oh, it's the 31 dies to the inside of the GT4. Mercedes, they get squeezed. And
you love to see it. It's just absolutely bullying the AMG. Now around the outside, that's a dangerous one. Easy to lose traction there. And you do see that. Ooh, just holding on for his life in the second gear there. That was quite lucky. And now that something I also want to highlight, Simon Trebek in the Trib Racing 81 only now clearing the final GT4 about 19 minutes into the race. After that lap 1 carnage, final things are setting into place a little bit.
Yeah, that's real unfortunate. 5 seconds away from Mercedes up ahead, and there is one of the Porsches that's also yet to make a stop as well down the order, so they'll drop a bit further down as well. The Porsches have a torrid time indeed.
Now I want to showcase that sun a little bit too. Look at the balloon there just briefly flashing, and it's going to be very nice into the first sector as well. I might want to turn back into that as we see a lot of sliding. That's kind of the big slide, the tire degrading slide we talked about. Doubly yellow ahead. It's probably going to be an incident. Let's jump to the helicam, see what's happening there. Green flags once again. But that is actually, I think that's Schaefer out there. Yeah, that is Maynard Schaefer losing about 4 positions from 8th. Let's jump back 30 positions and get a hold of what happened there. Following Martin Schaefer there to the inside, and now almost side by side up the hill with the Audi, and that's another Aston. Whoa, he just got completely taken out by lag there, it seems. It seemed like the Audi behind him. Let's see who that was. Yeah, the Audi there, Jack Donaldson. I think that might have been an incident based on connection. He just completely sent him.
That was an odd one at all. And that McLaren, the GT4 McLaren on the right hand side, no clue what was going on there. Just all 4 wheels on the grass and just sort of escaping into, I don't know, Narnia as well. I'm not sure if that was even part of the incident. GT4 McLaren doing its own thing. It was a bit odd, but yeah. A strange moment there, but they are together on track once again. Hopefully, if that was a lag incident, that doesn't happen again for these two.
It looks like they didn't take away that damage that should have happened considering the impact speed, or rather the difference of it. Now to the outside, we do see that Jack Donaldson hasn't had enough of it and wants to send it, and that Audi is absolutely staking it right there. No loss on correction at all, and that's going to be the move done right on up. Jack Donaldson moving up into P11.
That's exactly what we should have seen with the 420 car and the BMW earlier on. But the inside car should just give a bit more respect and just give the outside car a bit more room, not squeeze them onto the curb and allow that move to happen, as opposed to defend it too hard and cause an accident between the two. And round the outside goes, I think that's one of the BMWs. Round the outside, it's the 29 car. Clean around the outside of Schaefer through turns 10 and 11, and also the 45 going through as well. So maybe a bit team orders between those two, the 45 and the 14, but the BMW going through as well. And
that's a big pun! Well. Porsche completely missed the braking. It takes out that what should BMW. Be, I think, that's the BMW.
That was
Weish.
Alex Weish, yeah. The person that we've just had on the comms, having another tour of time, but the McLarens are going to say thank you very, very much for having a nice, easy...
Still, that's really not the way you want to take the position, even if that is it's the 3 points. Talking about the 3 points here, 3-way fight is brewing right on up here as we see Carl Newers get a beautiful run with Ram Racing here. Is he going to send it? He did think about it for a long time there now into the GT4 traffic. One of them is making way, the other absolutely not at all. And now into the TV1 camera we go, chasing Carl Newers around the outside of the traffic car here. Is he going to get enough turn? And it looks like he will. Just holding onto the back of Eugenie now and still having to defend as he does go for it. Outbraking himself briefly there as he has to regain traction. No move this time around, but that's a big statement. Eugenie Xavier, that is, in the number 42 ahead. Probably has his buttons pressed.
Anyway, so that move not really on up into Clubhouse, turn number 7 there. The 74, just trying to unsettle the 42 a little bit, and probably doing that so very well. No lights on though on the Mercedes. I'm surprised by that. I'd put them on, start flashing a little bit, you know, just to show them that they're there in the mirrors. But I'm sure that BMW knows that the 74's right up in his gearbox.
Yeah, and continuing to lead, talking about BMWs, is Aaron Araday up at the front here. Not quite sure where he'll end up at the end once all pit stops are completed here. 4 minutes still left to do that. We've been chasing these two right and around, and we do see a P1, a P8, and a P9. That would be fantastic. Absolutely fabulous seeing that in the GT4 garage. This time we're not going to have Schiller up at the front, but still we do see P3 and P4 there being secured by BMW runner-ups, being Sogum and Varga there. Yeah, look at that, son. Yeah, that's what you like to see.
Away, and here's Casper Nielsen then trying to put pressure on RWB Godzilla. Godzilla going a bit deep into turn 2, got spooked by a GT4 car that also went deep as well, just missing his braking zone there. Like you say, those up at the front then in a...
Once again, with that little jump there on the curve, it seems to catch a lot of people off guard here tonight.
Very much so. Of course, we've still got Aaron Adrie then, who's now made their way to pit road. The leader in GT3 then, the BMW 996, has completed their stop. They'll still be on pit road and we'll wait for them to come out. You see that little P symbol in the top left of your screen shows that it's still within the pit road, and they're out in the lead by 3.7 seconds there. The 31 closing in then on the 996, and we know that Jeff and Jordan are very quick pedalers indeed. Into the inside goes Casper Nielsen.
Making quick work of what I think is Schaefer there. Around the outside, did lose even more positions. Let's check. That is position number 29 actually.
Not for full position. The McLaren's having a pretty bad time of things here, and you can see a couple of GT4s up ahead. Should be able to get past the Aston into turn 2, hopefully here for Casper Nielsen. Maybe not though, might have to send it to the inside. Looks for it, can't do it this time. The Aston gives way, and again, get bullied off the track there. I think these GT4s, they're not so much pushovers, but they're allowing things to happen just a little too easy for the GT3s, to be honest. That Aston Martin could have taken the apex normally, had every right to. The car we're on board with now, the number 13 BMW, was definitely not alongside to take that away from him, but doing so, it's cost himself a little bit of time then to Godzilla, gap 1.5 seconds between P6 and P7.
Yeah, the total gap is less than 1.5 seconds in between P1, 2 and 3 that we've been chasing in the picture down here. So that gap we mentioned earlier is actually flipped on its head. So we're chasing right now the leader of the race. Right now that is Jeff up in P1. But the question is for how long? We already talked about the massive pace difference around some of the sectors. Looking at the last lap, 2 tenths down the first sector, 3 tenths down. Actually, not this time around. So this time around, actually, Jeff fastest in the group there ahead from these cars. So Jeff doing some God's work, much needed, if he wants to fend off Jordan here in the fight for the podium, or rather the race win in between those two. So Don Jordan in second, Aaron Araday is currently third and trying to take a hold of that. Whew, it's quite a bit of front action here. It's all really down to pace and tire management. Pit window is closed, pit stops are done, and the dust has settled a little bit. While I love to take a look at the race start once again, there's just too much happening out on track. Don't want you guys to miss out on any of that hot action right around Kyalami tonight in the Constructors Championship.
quite right. And yeah, the top three then battling away. I'm not so sure if Aaron Adri then keep up with the top two. We've seen some stellar pace from AJF and Don Jordan at Mazzano, and they're keeping up again here at Kyalami. So it'd be interesting to see if that BMW can keep up with the others, but the top three fight really shaping up now. And a very different top three as well compared to the first race, obviously. Some antics at the start of this race.
Have a quick look at that defense right on there. James Lacey trying to fight back as much as he can. Gets a beautiful move around there and just shoves the Audi out wide just within the room that he has to give him. So that's Jack Donaldson trying to hold on to the position, but James Lacey will take 11th place from him.
Yeah, neatly done too. Looking at your picture-in-picture move could be on for the lead here. AGF compromised out the final corner from a GT4 and round to the outside goes Don Jordan through turn 2. Can't make it happen. There's Aaron Adri there right in the background, ready and waiting, prowling on these two here, ready to pounce if they come into blows. And it's good that Don Jordan's able to, seize those opportunities in these pulling moves there. It's going to put pressure on Jeff, knowing that Don Jordan is ready to strike if he makes another mistake.
Yeah, so it's just 6 minutes that he'll have to hold on to it if he wants to bring home that P1 in the number 31 Audi here. It's very tight up at the front of the pack, just 8-10 separating the two. You see that the pace is super similar, not something we would have quite expected, but I do think that the reshuffle from race 1 makes this just so interesting towards the end of the race here. James Lacey, I'll keep on following, already diminished the gap to Badowski, completely eradicated almost, and he'll be fighting for P9. Let's bring on over that in the picture-in-picture in a second, if you may. Get that fight in as well, P9, P10 and 11. That's going to be very tight if you could quickly
we'll switch to that one. Indeed, P8, 9 and 10 there as Schaefer gets out the way. Thankfully, neatly done. Very compromised race there for Schaefer. And looking to the outside is the 45 car there. Badwowski trying to get past Eugenie, blocking the road there through the end.
Yeah. And we saw Jordan really looking towards the inside on the final turn, proving how late the Essen can brake. And look at that fight on the picture-in-picture right there. Oh, McLaren goes slightly. That's not going to be the exit that they wanted. AMG now possibly with the run here. This is going to be tight. You go ahead.
Into the grass goes the 74 there. That'd be Carl Lewis who gets the place then to the 69 Porsche of James Lacey. And we know James Lacey is quick. Very quick round here. The pole man here at Kyalami. He is looking to secure those points and bring back a bit of a comeback drive here. It's 3 wide almost into the final corner here. See if James Lacey can catch up to these two up ahead of him. Badwowski and Xavier Eugenie battling over P9, 10 and 11 here in the final stages of the race.
Yeah, Eugenie had some trouble earlier during this race, having to defend hard. And look how far over to the right there he is. On track right on there. To the outside, the McLaren goes, just fending that off so tightly, and the Porsche now is in a position to take it. Those two have been fighting, and Lacey's waiting. He'll take that. Wow.
Yeah, also a very easy move there for Lacey to take from Badwowski there. Badwowski coming in with a compromised run through turns 2 and 3. Nips it down inside at turn 4 and 5. Easily done that for the 69 car. He's always got his eyes set up on the number 42 car here. That's Xavier Eugenie, P8 overall in GT3. I would like to say it's going to be quite easy for James Lacey here, but we'll see what sort of defense the BMW picks up, and it's not going to be easy if he runs wide there. I'm not sure if you saw that there. The right indicator is on.
Yeah, I did see that. It's been the past couple of laps, I think. He's just showing he's in overtake mode, He's just signaling he's in absolute overtake mode. Nothing that can stop him at this rate, I think. Oh, very unfortunate for Don John there. Has to give way to his teammate in the GT4 there. That's gonna cost him a little bit of time in this fight. So if there's a driver of the day vote, I know that Lacey has my vote for tonight. That's just an amazing comeback drive, really dominating in the first race and making the most of the unfortunate circumstances he's been put in the second, and now sending Eugenie out wide to the defensive line once again. He's not going to have the straight line speed, but with the cornering and his skill, I think he might have the opportunity with the remaining 2 minutes in the race to make something happen here. Keep your eyes peeled on the picture-in-picture.
He's trying everything he can there. Runs a little bit wide through turn 2. There's a GT4 Mercedes there up ahead. This may compromise the BMW ever so slightly. And in the background there, Carl Lewis has caught back up again, along with Jack Donaldson, I believe that is, as well,
Yeah.
in the gold.
That is the Audi there in the background cruising along. And look at the traffic there and to the outside, but that's way too deep where Don Jordan is probably going to lose the position. No, actually he's not going to lose the position to the BMW, because that's also very much stuck in traffic. You see Aaron Araday just caught in the middle of it, caught in that centipede of GT4s all around him. That's actually Kevin Shepard ahead, that in the Porsche team number 19. Final lap of the race, bell is ringing, action is coming, and boy, is that a tough fight here up at the front. Let me get that picture-in-picture full screen for you to watch. So we did see that.
Indeed, I think your digital stream's just gone down momentarily, but yeah, like you see now on your full screen there, they're squabbling all over the place. Lacey losing a place then to Badwowski, just made that up and lost it again. And here comes Lewis round the outside in the 74. Actually, no, is that the 741 car?
No, that is actually that brown livery. That reminds me of. Is that Elgard?
It is. It's Elgard, yeah, who's a lap
I got it. I didn't even have to look. Yes.
Yep. Deep in a spanner in the works there is the lap down 741 car. He's trying to put some pressure on the Porsche, and well, he spun anyway, so never mind. We'll we'll discount the 741 car. Just
brief spotlight
of the Porsche. And, yeah.
Yeah, must have heard his name on the stream, and that's a bit too much at this time of day. However, that car that can't get enough of this race. Let's bring him up on full screen. We keep you informed in the bottom right around the fight that we've been following. It's actually gonna be the fast right-hander now, Cheetah, up into the final turn. It's gonna be most likely the win, and there it is. Checkered flags out, and it's gonna be waved for a Jeff. The Belgium Audi Club team WRT 31 takes the dub here. Very well deserved after some very fortunate circumstances. First lap, Don Jordan takes second. Aaron Araday has come home in third. Then it's going to be P4 right on there in the middle. I can't actually get to him. There he is. Ryan Winch in the number 1, and then jumping on over. Dahlgren is finishing P5. Then RW Godzilla a little bit ahead of the fighting pack. That's a lot of points here for the first finishing AMG. Then right around the corner, Casper Nielsen, BMW, DCC. Oh, I gotta give you the word. That's big incident there.
Big incident. That's 2 incidences in the same lap for Lacey. He was P9 coming out of turn 7, dropped the rear, dropped down to P12, then losing positions to Eugenie Badwowski, Jack Donson, and Carl Lewis. And then makes contact through the penultimate corner there. Yeah, a bad and straight to the wall. He's angry with that one, without a doubt. Very
he's not
disappointed.
going to be happy with that finish in the end.
Was a very good recovery drive, like you said, from the back of the grid up to would have been P9 or P8 for him, and then just bottling it at the end, made a mistake all on his own out of clubhouse, and then another mistake into the penultimate corner drops him down to P12 in the end.
Yeah, and something we didn't actually witness was a big drop in positions here, obviously, but Macho deserves our praises for finishing P1 this time around. Did have a good shot at it though, considering that the main competition being Schiller was taken out quite early in the race. Then Elgard finishing P2 in class, Sjöblom. And now what's a bit surprising is actually that Varga, who was with a P2, P3 combo, dropped way back. That's quite surprising. Tarantino finishing, I think that is going to be third in class then. Oh, Elgard is actually with a GT3, so we do have the rare occurrence where a GT3 is going to finish behind a GT4. How about that?
Not a ideal situation for the last place Mercedes, but picking it up is the first place Mercedes in GT4. So swings and roundabouts, and of course, like I said earlier, you get 1 out of your 4 drivers have a bad race, and unfortunately that went to Engelard this time, but at least they have teammates in GT4 to pick up the pieces where those might have been dropped. And not the best showing again in GT4, not the best showing for BMW, but in GT3 that was a very good race indeed for them.
Yeah. So they did have their ups and downs. Race 2 definitely a sight to see. That's probably going to be a very big one for the for the race stewards to watch back. Let us, however, have a look at the highlights there. The replay file is 16 minutes long in the 35 minutes race. Just the highlights. How about that?
And that's the auto-generated ones as well, isn't it? So the game picking up a lot going on there. Indeed, there was. And half the race, something was going on. As very hectic indeed.
And second one is just so hectic. Just so many things happening in the same time here. Race start now as we're following RWB Godzilla into turn 1. And now here's the incident where Porsche makes contact with the 420, sends him around spinning. That's almost the continuous T-bone there as the GT4s arrive to the scene of the crime. Oh, he jumps the curb there. Good Lord, that was close as well. Almost completely coming to a halt then. RWB Godzilla also joining the pack here with the GT4s now surrounding him. Wow. That is something you might want to watch in first person just to experience. Like, you don't even have to get yourself any sort of horror games. Resident Evil Village? Nah, just look back in the first person here. Just that start is anxiety in a nutshell.
Very much so. Yeah, be a mid-pack GT4 driver down to turn 2. Not going to be a fun time for them whatsoever. I'm sure that's the last thing they were expecting. If they were in a VC with the teammates from the main one that we have in RWB, I'm sure they would have seen or at least heard a call out from a unhappy driver or two, warning them of the horrors that awaited them down to turn 2.
It's going to be just... It's a big one! And then just
collecting maybe a third of the field there. Well, we've got 40 cars here.
It was a massive crash.
8-10 or so were involved in that in some way or another. Some was getting spun around completely. Some with a little tap, but even the little tap gets you involved with it, and it's just not exactly what you wanted.
Yeah, when you're waiting up for that, there's going to be more to follow. Very close there. So we see the overtake there from Don Jordan getting past Ryan Winch. Very tight. Not a lot of room being left there. Ryan Winch trying to make way without losing time. Oh boy. It's gonna be a long one. I don't think I'm gonna watch all of it, but I'll leave you for 1 minute of action. Yeah, there's just so many overtakes now as well, with the cars trying to get back in the action, lapping themselves back past the traffic. But Matja will have to get the patience award of the evening, letting past so many GT3s, only to find them back behind them in the rear mirrors just a couple of turns later. That's
I feel sort of sorry for the GT4s, to be honest. Yeah, they just want nice, peaceful time of things. They're there to deal with their GT4 opponents, and the last thing they want, especially immediately into turn 2, is have to deal with GT3s when you're so tight and bunched up like that. A GT3, if they slide down the inside of you and not the person you're battling with, you lose instantly half a second because you have to make way for that GT3. And if they get past you in a corner and then they get past the person you're dealing with or trying to get past yourselves through a straight, they don't lose any time, and you're the one that gets, on the offhand there. Gets the worse dealing with cards there.
Wow. So this is gonna probably get ourselves a long highlight reel. We'll have to study this one. This is a big one, big race. Either way, thank you so much, Dom, for joining me here tonight in those 2 35 minutes races, Constructors Championship round number 2, bonus round for BMW, bonus the penalties, but also it seemed like bonus the incidents, but not just for them.
Almost everyone indeed. And yeah, pleasure as always. Round number 3, we're going to go to the Hungaroring, and it's Aston Martin's time for the bonus rounds.
So that's going to be a wrap for the broadcast tonight. Do make sure to push that thumbs up button. It supports the channel quite a lot. RWB bringing you this, as well as the sponsor. As always, it's going to be RST. We hope that you have a lovely evening, and we'll see you around on Saturday. That's at least when you'll be seeing me in the broadcast, and then Tuesday for the Hungarian ring, as mentioned. Top of the evening to you lads, and I'll see you around.
See you guys next time.